In the busy city of Nairobi, Amina Mwangi was not afraid to be different. She loved Jabari Okoth for a long time and believed they were meant to be together forever. One sunny afternoon, with her heart pounding, she decided to do something very brave. She got down on one knee and proposed to Jabari in front of their friends and family. Everyone was surprised because it's usually the man who proposes, but Amina didn't care about tradition. She only cared about love. But Jabari was shocked. Instead of saying yes, his pride took over. He looked at Amina with cold eyes and said no, right there in front of everyone. The room fell silent. Amina's face turned red with shame and hurt. She had imagined a happy moment, but instead she felt crushed. Jabari's rejection wasn't just a no, it was sharp and painful. He said things that made her feel small, like she had made a mistake by dreaming big. Friends and family watched, some shocked, others whispering. Amina's bold move had backfired in the worst way. But even though she felt broken inside, something inside her grew stronger. She knew she deserved more than a proud man who could not see her worth. That day in Nairobi didn't just mark a painful end, it lit a fire inside Amina to rise higher no matter what. After that painful day in Nairobi, Amina felt like her whole world had been turned upside down. Her heart was heavy, and the shame of Jabari's rejection burned deep inside her. It hurt so much that sometimes she wondered if she would ever smile again. But even with the sadness, something inside Amina refused to break. She knew she could not stay stuck in that moment, living in the shadow of what had happened. She decided to take control of her own story. Instead of drowning in pain, she chose to use that pain as fuel for her future. Without looking back, Amina packed her bags and left Nairobi. She moved to Lagos, Nigeria, a city full of energy and opportunity, but also full of challenges. Lagos was different from Nairobi in many ways, busier, louder, and faster. But Amina welcomed the change. She was ready for a fresh start, a place where nobody knew her story, where she could build a new life on her own terms. It wasn't easy at first. Finding a job in a new city, in a new country, without many connections was tough. She faced doubts, long days, and moments when giving up seemed like the easiest choice. But Amina kept pushing forward. Her dream was clear: to succeed in the tech industry, a field many women found hard to enter. She studied hard, worked harder, and never let anyone tell her she wasn't good enough. Every late night at the office, every challenge at work reminded her why she had. It wasn't just about a job. It was about proving to herself that she was strong, smart. Slowly, she climbed the corporate ladder, earning respect and admiration from colleagues and bosses alike. Her name started to appear in articles about young women making waves in tech, inspiring others with her courage and drive. Amina's heartbreak had become her secret power. Every time she remembered Jabari's cold rejection, she smiled inside, knowing that moment had pushed her to become better. She no longer needed his approval or anyone else's. She had found her own path and she was walking it with confidence and grace. Lagos had become more than a new city. It was her proving ground, a place where she transformed pain into success. And Amina knew this was just the beginning of her amazing journey. While Amina was rising and shining in Lagos, Jabari's life back in Nairobi was falling apart. After he coldly rejected Amina's proposal, he thought he had made the right choice. He believed he was too proud to need anyone's help, especially not from a woman who dared to break tradition. But pride, as they say, often comes before a fall. Jabari's business, once promising and full of hope, began to crumble. Customers stopped coming, deals fell through, and money became tight. The man who used to brag about his success now found himself struggling to keep his company alive. Jabari's arrogance pushed away the people who cared about him. Friends who once stood by him started to distance themselves. They saw how he treated Amina with coldness and disrespect and quietly judged him for it. Without a strong support system, Jabari felt more alone than ever. He spent many nights worrying about the future, but instead of learning from his mistakes, he blamed others and refused to change. His pride kept him from asking for help or admitting he was wrong. What hurt Jabari the most was watching from afar as Amina's name grew bigger and brighter. Her success was everywhere, in newspapers, online articles, and on social media. People admired her courage, her hard work, and the amazing career she was building. Every time he saw her smile on a magazine cover or read about her achievements, a part of him cracked inside. He realized that the girl he once dismissed was now a powerful woman who didn't need him. The man who rejected her was left with regret and emptiness. Jabari's downfall was not just about losing a business or friends. It was about losing the chance to be part of something greater. While Amina was busy building a future filled with hope and strength, Jabari was stuck in the past, trapped by his own mistakes and pride. The man who thought he was too good to accept Amina's love now watched helplessly as she rose without him. And deep down, he knew that he had lost much more than just a girlfriend. He had lost the woman who could have changed his life forever. In the vibrant city of Lagos, where the streets buzzed with energy and dreams, Amina found something she never expected: love again. After all the pain and heartbreak she had faced, she thought maybe her heart would stay closed forever. But life has a way of surprising us when we least expect it. One day at a business conference filled with powerful people and bright ideas, Amina met Chinedu. He wasn't just any man, he was a billionaire, a man with a strong presence and a kind smile that made people feel at ease. But what caught Amina's attention wasn't his money or status. It was the way he looked at her. He saw her for who she truly was: a woman full of ambition, intelligence, and strength. Chinedu didn't care about her past or where she came from. He was fascinated by her drive and the way she refused to give up, no matter how hard life had. Unlike Jabari, who dismissed her because she broke tradition, Chinedu celebrated her courage. They started talking, first about work and dreams, then about life, hopes, and fears. Each conversation built a bridge between their hearts, made stronger by respect and understanding. Chinedu never tried to control Amina or make her feel small. Instead, he lifted her up, encouraging her to reach even higher. Their connection grew quickly, but it was deep and real. They shared long walks by the Lagos Lake, where they dreamed about the future and what they could build to. They supported each other's goals, knowing that true love is not just about feelings, but about growing together. With Chinedu, Amina felt safe and valued. For the first time in a long time, she didn't have to hide her ambitions or fear rejection. He believed in her, not just as a successful woman in tech, but as a whole person with dreams and emotion. Their love was a fresh start, a new chapter filled with hope and possibility. It wasn't about rushing or needing each other to fill empty spaces. It was about two strong people choosing to walk life's path side by side. While Jabari's rejection had left scars, Amina's relationship with Chinedu healed them slowly, turning pain into something beautiful. People around them noticed the powerful bond they shared, inspiring others with a story of respect, partnership, and true love. In Lagos, amid the city's fast pace and endless challenges, Amina and Chinedu built something rare and precious: a love story that was not about who came first or who held power, but about mutual respect and shared dreams. Amina's journey had come full circle. From heartbreak in Nairobi to hope in Lagos, she had found a man who saw her worth and matched her ambition. Together, they were unstoppable, a force of strength and love that no one could ignore. This was more than a love story. It was a lesson in courage, respect, and the power of believing in yourself and others. Months passed, and life in Lagos continued to shine brightly for Amina. She had built a new world filled with success, love, and confidence. But little did Nairobi know, a surprise was coming that would shake the city to its core. One sunny afternoon, Amina took to social media with a simple but powerful message: she was getting married. The news spread like wildfire. People couldn't believe it. The bold, ambitious woman who once got rejected and humiliated in Nairobi was now about to marry Chinedu, the charismatic billionaire who had stood by her side and believed in her dreams. What made the announcement even more shocking was the invitation Amina sent out. She invited everyone, including Jabari Oko, the very man who had coldly turned her down to friends. The same man who had once made her feel small and unworthy. Now he was asked to witness a celebration of her happiness and success. Nairobi buzzed with whispers and reactions. Some people were happy for Amina, proud of how far she had come. Others were stunned, wondering how she could be so strong after all she had been through. But most importantly, Jabari was left speechless. For days, Jabari couldn't stop thinking about the invitation. It was like a mirror, showing him everything he had lost, every moment he had spent rejecting Amina, every harsh word he had said now haunted him. He questioned his own pride and arrogance. How had he been so blind to the woman who wanted to spend her life with? How had he pushed away someone so special, only to watch her rise without him? The invitation was not just a card, it was a message that Amina had moved on, and she had done so on her own terms. Jabari's friends noticed the change in him. The confident man who once looked down on Amina now seemed small and unsure. He was forced to face the reality that he had lost something precious. The woman he once dismissed was now a queen, loved and respected by many. Meanwhile, Amina's story was everywhere, on TV, in newspapers, and on social media feeds. People admired her courage to turn pain into power. They saw her not as someone who had been rejected, but as a woman who had rewritten her story. As the wedding day grew closer, excitement filled the air. Everyone wondered how Jabari would react. Would he come? Would he speak? Or would he disappear, defeated by regret? The truth was, no one really knew. But one thing was clear. This wedding was not just a celebration of love. It was a celebration of strength, resilience, and the power of believing in yourself. On the day of the wedding, Amina looked radiant. She walked confidently down the aisle, surrounded by friends and family who had supported her journey. Chinedu stood proudly by her side, his eyes full of admiration and love. The atmosphere was electric, filled with joy and hope. But there was also a silent message being sent, a message to anyone who ever doubted her or tried to hold her back. Jabari sat quietly among the guests, watching everything unfold. He saw Amina smile, her strength, and the respect she commanded. For the first time, he truly understood what he had lost. The woman who once bent so low for his approval was now standing tall as a powerful and confident queen, and he was left with nothing but regrets and questions about his past choices. This wedding wasn't just about two people coming together. It was a powerful statement. It showed that no matter how many times life tries to knock you down, you can rise again. It proved that respect and love go hand in hand, and that true strength comes from believing in yourself even when others don't. Amina's journey from heartbreak to happiness inspired many, reminding everyone that sometimes the best revenge is living well and loving boldly. In the end, Nairobi didn't just witness a wedding, they witnessed a woman's triumph over rejection, a new beginning filled with hope, and a love story that was truly unforgettable. And as Amina and Chinedu started their life together, one thing was certain. This was only the beginning of a beautiful and powerful story that would inspire many for years to come. After the shocking wedding announcement, Jabari's world felt like it was crashing down. He was desperate and broken inside, filled with regrets for everything he had lost. The proud man who once rejected Amina was now the one left wondering how he could have been so blind. He saw her rise to success, her new life filled with love and respect, and he knew he had missed his chance. His heart ached, and the silence he felt was louder than any words. Jabari couldn't stop thinking. The woman he pushed away, but who never stopped shining. Unable to hold back his feelings, Jabari reached out to Amina. He sent messages, called her, and even tried to meet her in person. His words were filled with apologies and sadness. He wanted to explain, to say he was sorry for hurting her and for letting pride get in the way of their love. He hoped maybe that she would give him another chance, that she might remember the good times they once shared. But Amina was no longer the same woman who had once begged for his love. She was strong, confident, and powerful, a woman who had built her own path without him. When Jabari finally saw Amina, it was clear she had moved on. and on her own time. She listened quietly to his regrets, but made it clear that her past with him was clear. She told him she had forgiven him, not for his sake, but for her own peace. She didn't need him anymore. Her happiness came from within, from her hard work, and from the love she had found with Chinedu. Amina showed no anger or bitterness, only calm strength. She had learned the value of self respect and knew that settling for less was never an option. Jabari was left to face the reality that some things cannot be undone. No apology could erase the pain he caused, and no regret could bring back the future he lost. Amina's decision was firm. She would not go back to the past or let anyone dim her light again. She had grown into a queen who chose herself first, and that was a lesson Jabari could only watch from the sideline. Though broken, Jabari's attempt to reconnect was a sign of his own growth. He finally understood what he had lost. But Amina's story was no longer about heartbreak. It was about healing, moving forward, and rising stronger than ever. Jabari's regret was a quiet reminder that love and respect must go hand in hand, and that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away and never look. At her wedding, surrounded by friends, family, and the bright lights of celebration, Amina stood tall and confident. Everyone was waiting to hear her words. And when she began to speak, her voice was clear and strong. She talked about the journey she had taken, the pain, the heartbreak, and the hard lessons she learned along the way. But more than anything, Amina spoke about something powerful: self respect. She told the crowd how important it is to know your worth and to never settle for less than you deserve. Her words were not just for herself, but for everyone who had ever been hurt or made to feel small. She shared how resilience helped her rise from pain to power, reminding everyone that sometimes life's hardest moments can become the fuel to become better, stronger, and braver. As she spoke, the room was filled with emotion. People felt inspired and moved by her honesty and strength. They saw a woman who had faced rejection and humiliation, but chose to stand up, fight back, and create a life full of success and love. But among all the faces, one stood out: Jabari. He sat quietly, his eyes fixed on Amina, fully aware of what he had lost. He wasn't just watching a beautiful wedding, he was witnessing the final blow to a chapter of his life that he had let slip away. Amina wasn't just the girl who once loved him. She was now a queen, powerful and untouchable. Her speech was a clear message that she had moved on and there was no going back. That moment sealed it all. Jabari's regret was complete and Amina's victory was absolute. The woman he rejected had become someone unstoppable and he had lost her forever.